What happens when the world's deadliest warriors can't die but lose the will to live? Far out at sea, a large vessel carefully lowers a crane into the water to recover something ancient, a rusted iron maiden sealed for over 500 years. Watching from the deck, Discord remains silent as her men haul it up and force it open. Inside lies Quinch, astonishingly alive, having endured centuries locked away, because like Discord, she is immortal. At the same time, in Croatia, a covert team of immortal mercenaries is preparing to intercept an arms dealer. Although Andy lost her immortality half a year ago, she hasn't left the team. She still fights alongside her eternal companions. From a distance, the group keeps eyes on the dealer's house, waiting patiently for the perfect chance to strike. Their opportunity comes when one of the guards wanders off to relieve himself near a tree. Andy teams up with James, a former CIA operative, and together they silently approach and knock the man unconscious. Meanwhile, Nikki and Joe sneak through the garden and encounter two more guards. A fight breaks out. One of the attackers pulls a knife and slices off Joe's thumb. But Joe doesn't panic. He drives the blade into the man, retrieves his severed thumb, and presses it back onto his hand. In seconds, it heals, as if nothing ever happened. To draw the rest of the guards out of the house, Joe and Nikki fire shots into the air and steal two nearby cars. The guards jump on their motorcycles and give chase, unknowingly leaving the house's entrance unguarded. That's when Andy and James move in. But as they make their way inside, more guards appear and begin shooting. The two quickly dive for cover. Andy notices a decorative sword mounted on the wall. She grabs it and cuts down the attackers in a matter of seconds. Without wasting a moment, she slips outside, circles to another door, and bursts into a different room, catching more guards off guard from behind. They don't stand a chance. Speeding down the river, Niall, a former Marine, arrives on a boat and opens fire at the guards stationed behind the house. The boat slams into the staircase, forcing her to leap out and continue the assault on foot, gunning down every enemy in her path. She scales the wall to reach the balcony, and when a bullet hits her neck, her wound heals instantly. That's the proof of her immortality. Inside the house, Andy and James are in constant combat, using bullets, blades, and fists to push through the wave of enemies. Just then, Niall leaps from the balcony, grabs a hanging flag, and swings across the wall. She smashes through a window and joins them inside, taking out the last remaining guard. Meanwhile, the chase continues on the mountain road. Guards fire at Joe and Nikki, who shoot back, killing several guards in the process. When their cars line up side by side, Nikki climbs through the window to get into Joe's vehicle. But a collision with an enemy car breaks his leg. Luckily, the crash sends the attacker off the cliff. As Nikki's leg heals, he kicks away some bikers and finally gets inside. Their escape is short-lived. A new enemy vehicle crashes into them, and both heroes are thrown into the sea. They're forced to swim to shore. Back in the house, Andy, Niall, and James head upstairs, still fighting their way through guards. Eventually, they reach the arms dealer and, after a quick burst of gunfire, send him falling over the balcony to his death. Before leaving, Niall grabs a spear from the man's collection, an unexpected souvenir from the battle. That evening, James receives a call from a CIA contact who tells him they didn't kill the real arms dealer, just a decoy. He's then sent a security camera image revealing the actual target, Discord. Niall instantly recognizes her from recurring dreams, where she saw Discord murder a man in a library and steal his books. The next day in Paris, Booker returns to his apartment after days of heavy drinking. He's been spiraling ever since Andy kicked him out of the team for betraying them. As he steps inside, he notices the door ajar and immediately draws his gun. But it's too late. Quinn is already there, and with help from a henchman, she quickly abducts him. She takes Booker to a remote beach house and confronts him. Finding him was easy, she says, because he's been sloppy and drunk. She repeatedly demands to know where Andy is, but Booker insists he has no idea. Quinn is furious, not because Andy is missing, but because she assumed Andy had also been imprisoned like her. In reality, Andy had been free all along, living her life instead of searching for her lost friend. The group decides to take a break and go their separate ways for a while. In France, Joe tells Nikki he needs some time alone. Nikki pretends to be okay with it, but he knows Joe is hiding something. Suspecting more, he asks Niall to join him in following Joe. They track him downtown and eventually corner him, only to find out that Joe has been quietly delivering groceries to Booker, trying to help him despite everything. Nikki is furious and confronts Joe about Booker's past betrayal. The argument heats up until Niall steps in with urgent news. She visited Booker's apartment but didn't find him. Instead, she discovered blood on the floor and smeared along the walls. Meanwhile, in Korea, Andy and James meet Tua, another immortal who once declined to join their team. Andy believes he might be the man from Niall's dream. Tua takes them to his underground library, where he has documented the lives of all immortals. But some books are missing, which confirms that Niall's visions were real. Tua explains that Discord, the very first immortal, stole them. He and Discord were once close. Together they watched as Andy and Quinn were captured 500 years ago. Tua had begged Discord to help, but she turned her back. He managed to save Andy, though it was already too late for Quinn. While staying hidden, Discord spent centuries building wealth and power to shield herself from humanity's cruelty. That explains her shady alliances with arms dealers. Tua isn't sure why she's returned now, but he knows she's stolen the books that detail the team's history. Andy privately reveals that she's lost her immortality and fears Discord might already know. A few hours later, they return to the safe house, where Tua is introduced to the rest of the team. As they exchange updates, Joe receives a call from Booker asking to meet. Nikki and Joe head out, pick him up, and bring him back. No one is thrilled to see him. Booker informs Andy that Quinn has returned and hands her a letter from her. The message asks Andy to meet at the special place they once shared. Andy doesn't hesitate. She heads straight for the car. Niall follows and convinces her to take her along for backup. Back at the safe house, Booker tries to reconnect with the group, but Nikki isn't buying it. He reminds everyone they still can't be sure Booker won't betray them again. During the drive, Andy reflects on the day she lost Quinn. A building had been on fire, and in her rage, she nearly killed an innocent man. Only the memory of Quinn stopped her. Later, at a gas station bathroom, Andy admits she's afraid Quinn won't like who she's become. This worries Niall. She's never seen Andy scared before. The next day in Italy, Andy meets Quinn as Niall watches from a distance. Andy apologizes, explaining she did try to find her, but the ocean was too vast. When she invites Quinn to rejoin the team, Quinn refuses. She no longer wants to fight for humanity after what it did to her. Realizing Andy won't abandon her team, Quinn turns and walks away. Andy follows, asking Niall to stay behind. Just then, Niall spots Discord exiting a nearby building. Andy catches up to Quinn and tries to stop her, but Quinn pushes back and starts a fight in an alley, despite Andy saying she doesn't want to fight. Both women are skilled fighters, using walls, railings, and their surroundings to their advantage as they exchange powerful blows. The fight pauses when Niall arrives and warns them that Discord is right behind them. Discord only smirks and walks away calmly. Niall follows. Quinn H then says Niall's name aloud, and Andy instantly realizes Quinn was rescued by Discord. They're now working together. The fight resumes, and during the struggle, Quinn rips the necklace from Andy's neck, the same one she had gifted her long ago. Quinn runs off, and though Andy gives chase, she quickly loses her in the crowd. Meanwhile, Niall enters a nearby church and finds Discord waiting. Discord claims she witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus and mocks Andy's team for protecting humanity. She then reveals that she and Niall are connected, proving it by showing they share matching birthmarks on their arms. Discord tells Niall she will be the last immortal, but offers no explanation before walking away. Later, the team gathers at the safe house to discuss what happened, though none of them know what to do next. Andy quietly mourns in her room, thinking about the day Quinn gave her the necklace. Meanwhile, Tua asks Booker if Niall has ever heard Andy. Booker recalls their first meeting, when they fought, and Niall stabbed her. Based on an old legend, Tua believes Niall has the rare power to strip immortality, and that Discord plans to use her to eliminate them all. He adds that once an immortal is wounded by Niall, they have the choice to pass on their immortality before losing it completely. The next morning, Booker offers to leave, but Andy allows him to stay due to the current crisis. He confesses that, deep down, he'd actually welcome having an expiration date. It would give his life purpose. At an airport, Discord continues to sway Quinch. When Quinn admits she wants revenge on humanity, Discord fully supports the idea, drawing her further in. A truck barrels toward a nuclear facility in Indonesia. Guards open fire, but the truck doesn't stop. It slams into the front gate, causing a small explosion. Believing the driver is dead, they lower their guard. But it's Quinn, who quickly recovers, grabs a nearby guard as a hostage, and holds him in place while Discord's henchmen shoot down the rest from behind. Soon after, more vehicles crash into the main building, sending employees into a panic. The henchmen continue mowing down guards as Quinn pushes deeper into the inner sections of the facility. Meanwhile, Booker watches Nile training outside and asks to spar with her. Tua observes their fight and, noticing how evenly matched they are, joins in. The three engage in a fast-paced fight that proves all of them are highly skilled, even when outnumbered. During the match, Nile accidentally slices Booker's arm. She apologizes, but everyone shrugs it off. Later, in private, Booker reveals to Tua that the wound isn't healing. The theory is true. He's no longer immortal. He asks Tua to keep this secret from Andy, at least for now. James gathers the team for a meeting after receiving security footage from the nuclear facility. It shows that Quinn's group has taken control and planted a bomb in the nuclear core. Everyone knows it's likely a trap, but with a potential nuclear explosion at stake, they have no choice but to respond. Privately, Joe confesses to Nikki that he's afraid. Nikki reassures him, reminding him that their love will always be eternal, no matter what happens. A few hours later, the team rides out to the nuclear plant on their bikes. James stays outside, using building scans to guide them through earpieces. Inside, the team begins a careful search of the facility and quickly discovers smaller bombs scattered throughout. Before long, they're surrounded by Discord's henchmen. With so many explosives nearby, using guns is too risky. Instead, they engage in hand-to-hand combat. The fight turns brutal and intense. Every kind of weapon comes into play, from martial arts to blades, axes, and swords. Although Discord's henchmen aren't particularly skilled, they're fast enough to force the team to split up. During the fight, some of them are thrown off the catwalks. Suddenly, a gunshot triggers a small explosion, seriously injuring Nikki and sending him over the edge too, but he recovers quickly. Nikki, Joe, and Tua regroup and push forward, finding a door and heading down a corridor. Another small blast hits nearby, but it only delays them briefly. They reach the control room, where even more of Discord's men are waiting. Another intense round of fighting breaks out, and the trio manages to bring down the attackers. But as soon as they think it's over, the doors slam shut, trapping them inside. Without warning, liquid nitrogen floods the room, instantly freezing all three men. Soon, more henchmen arrive and carry their bodies away in bags. Elsewhere in the plant's core chamber, Andy is ambushed by two men and taken down with tasers. Seeing this, Nile tries to help, risking a long leap to reach her. But the pipe she grabs snaps, sending her crashing down as rubble buries her under heavy debris. Andy, furious and determined, overpowers the henchman who had captured her. But when she looks around, there's no sign of Nile. Outside the facility, James spots approaching enemies and rushes out with his gun. Though he opens fire, he's quickly overwhelmed and taken down. Back inside, suddenly more attackers ambush her and pin her to the floor. Just then, Booker arrives and takes them out with his axe. A small explosion goes off at the door, blocking their path and forcing them to take a different route. As they move through the corridors, Andy realizes Discord is controlling the facility's doors and smashes the security cameras to block her view. Meanwhile, Booker notices that Andy's wounds are healing again. He reveals he passed his immortality onto her. They continue fighting through another group of enemies, and when Andy sees a fresh cut on her arm vanish, she finally believes him. With more attackers on their way, Booker runs ahead and lets the door close behind him, staying back to hold off the enemy and give Andy a chance to complete the mission. Andy desperately tries to open the sealed door, but nothing works. On the other side, Booker is shot repeatedly, yet he keeps fighting until he takes down every attacker, only to collapse and die from his wounds. At the same time, Nile crawls out from beneath the rubble and heads toward the core. There, she finds Quinn and tries to reason with her, warning that Discord is using her. But Quinn refuses to listen and attacks. The two engage in a fierce fight until Nile manages to slash Quinn's stomach, stripping away her immortality. Shocked, Quinn stares at her bleeding wound. Just then, Discord appears behind Nile and drives a sword through her, knocking her down. Her men arrive and take Nile's body away too. With the rest of the team defeated, the door finally opens and Andy presses forward. She finds the main bomb, and Quinn sitting beside it, holding the trigger. The two exchange a quiet conversation, reflecting on the beliefs they once shared and how much they've changed. In the end, Andy's words move Quinn enough for her to abandon the plan and not detonate the bomb. Noticing that Quinn's wounds aren't healing, Andy suddenly hears a strange noise and rushes outside. She sees Discord loading the bodies onto two helicopters. Andy takes a running leap, smashes a chopper window with her axe, and hangs on. The helicopter swerves in circles to shake her off, but she keeps climbing toward the cockpit. During the struggle, the rotor blades hit nearby walls. One of the pilots pulls a gun and shoots, forcing Andy to fall back onto the facility roof. As she takes a few minutes to heal, one helicopter escapes. The other circles back so Discord can hover above and silently gesture, inviting Andy to join her. Andy leaps again toward the helicopter, but instead of holding on, she shoves Discord out. Both women crash to the ground. Discord orders the helicopter to stay back and faces Andy head-on. What follows is an intense sword fight. Both are highly skilled, exchanging blow after blow. But during a tight hold, Andy notices something. Discord's wounds aren't healing. That's when the truth becomes clear. Discord has lost her immortality. Her plan all along was to capture the team so Nile could transfer their powers to her. The fight continues, but now Discord gains the upper hand. She drives her sword through Andy's torso, leaving her collapsed and bleeding. As Discord boards the helicopter and flies away, Andy lies on the ground, vowing she will save her friends. Sometime later, Andy searches Tua's hidden library, but finds nothing helpful. She also cares for Quinn, who is slowly recovering. As they talk, the two women seem to forgive one another. Eventually, they suit up once more, ready to face Discord together. That's the end of the movie.